Hello, grade 12 learners. Welcome to another exciting session of mathematical literacy. My name is Nikki Zulu. I'm going to be your teacher this afternoon. And remember, this lesson is proudly brought to you by the Free State Department of Education in collaboration with Pagama Research and Development. Last week's lesson, the focus was on finance revision, and this week's focus is going to be on your favorite topic, which is data handling. So by the end of this lesson, we should be able to work with developing questions, collecting data, organizing data, summarizing data, representing and analyzing data. So these are the data handling concepts that you must always keep in mind. Just a reminder, these are the things that you were taught in term 1. When it comes to data handling, you need to know how to develop questions that require data collection. And then when you collect your data, you will collect your data using instruments or other methods. So you must know what are the data collection methods or what are the data collection instruments. And what are those? We are talking about your questionnaire, we are talking about interview, observation, and database. The practical examples. If maybe do you remember the time when we were still under lockdown, when you enter the school, you were required to complete a form where they ask that, are you coughing? Have you been exposed to someone with COVID-19? Do you have a headache? Do you have a sore throat? So you just tick yes or no. So that form that we are completing, that is an example of a questionnaire. You were completing a questionnaire to give the school information. And then when it comes to an interview, if your school wanted a mathematical literacy teacher, what they would have to do, they will have to collect information from the different people that qualify for that position, that are also interested for that position. So for the school to get information from those people, whether they are fit enough to teach you guys mathematical literacy, the school will have to conduct what we call an interview. Or a practical example that you guys can actually relate with, if I wanted to know from you guys in your classroom right now, what is your favorite subject? I can obtain that information by talking to you one-on-one, asking Palisa, what is your favorite subject? You give me the answer. Tabiso, what is your favorite subject? You give me the answer. Dumelo, what is your favorite subject? You give me the answer. What am I doing? I am interviewing you. That is what we call by interview. That is what we mean by interview. And then observation. This data collection method, an example of this is if I wanted to know the number of learners that are arriving late at your school every morning, I can do that by standing at the gate of your school. Maybe we can say from 7:30 until 8:30. So while I'm sitting there, if your school starts at 8, it means I'll start recording from 8 o'clock, because everyone that arrives after 8 o'clock, that person will be considered late. So I can use observation by just sitting. I don't talk to anyone. I just sit and observe how many people are entering the school after 8 o'clock. So that type of a data collection method or instrument is referred to as an observation. The last one, which is the database. If I wanted to know how your school has been performing in mathematical literacy for the past 5 years, I cannot ask you, you wouldn't know. I'm sure your teacher would not even remember, even though she's been teaching at the school for the past 5 years. So the best way would be for me to go to the school's database. From the school's database in the computer, I will be able to get that information on how the school has been performing in mathematical literacy over the past 5 years. So these are the data collection instruments or data collection methods. And then you must also know that when you work with data, data can either be categorical or numerical. If it is categorical, this is the data that expresses information in the form of grouping. We can group information in color to say those that are wearing orange, this side, those that are wearing blue, this side, those that are wearing pink, this side. What are we doing? We are classifying you into groups of color. Or we can even do that with gender, to say girls this side, boys this side. I'm classifying you in groups of what? Of gender. That is your categorical data. And then we also have numerical data. Numerical data, it is self-explanatory. By that, I mean that because of the word numerical, it means that is the data that contains numbers. A perfect example, if I wanted to know how many learners are in your class currently, you will tell me that, ma'am, there is 40 learners. The 40 learners, that means that is numerical data. Or if I wanted to know what was your pass percentage for the prelim exams, you will tell me that, oh, our pass percentage, ma'am, we were sitting at 100%. Because of the number 100%, that makes the data to be numerical. Now, if the data is numerical, then you must know that it can be classified as discrete or continuous data. What is discrete data? Discrete data is the data that can be obtained through counting. If you have to count for you to get the data, then that makes it discrete data. I know most of you like to say it is data that contains whole numbers. That is also correct. So an example of discrete data, if I wanted to know how many learners are in your class, I cannot just stand there and guess. No, I'll have to physically count you guys, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up to 14. So the number of learners is a perfect example of discrete data. When it comes to continuous data, this is the data that is obtained through measurement. So for you to, if you have to measure to get your answer, that would make the data to be what? To be continuous. If I wanted to know how heavy I am, I wanted to know my mass, I wanted to know my weight, I cannot guess. Even yourself, you cannot just look at me and guess the exact weight. So for me to know my exact weight, I will need a bathroom scale. I will have to step on a bathroom scale, and then it will tell me that, oh, you weigh 100 kilograms. So that the weight is a perfect example of continuous data. Or if I wanted to know how tall I am, I cannot guess my height. I don't even know my height. I will need a measuring tape to measure myself standing. That would tell me that, oh, you are 1.8 meters tall. So height is another perfect example of continuous data. I know you guys, you also like to say continuous data is data that contains decimals. That is also acceptable, it's fine, but you must know that continuous data, it is data that is obtained through measurement. And then when you arrange your data can be arranged either in ascending or descending order. If it is in ascending order, you must know that means the data is arranged from the smallest value to the biggest value. If the data is arranged in descending order, D for down, it means you are going down. That means that the data is arranged from the biggest value to the smallest value. And then when we talk about the mean in data handling, we talk about the sum of the values divided by the total number of values. So if you want to calculate the mean, you will add all the values and then you will divide by the total number of those values. And then when you talk about a tally, we always see the tally on the tally and frequency table. We never separate this. They go hand in hand. With a tally, that is a form of numeral that is used for counting. For example, if you counted 2, this is how you would tally 2. This means 2. If you counted 4, this is how you would tally 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then as a number, it represents 4. If you wanted to tally 5, you will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Always. You know that this represents what? 5. Let's say you wanted to tally 8. It will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So a 5 is always represented by this. So this is what we mean by tallying. And remember, you are not seeing this for the first time. You were already taught this. We did this when we were revising for June exam. And now we did this when we were revising for the prelim exams. Even now for our last final push, we are still revising this. And then when we talk about a frequency table, This is a table that lists items and shows the number of items, the number of times the items occur. So your frequency, you will have your tally here, and then this side would be your frequency. So if let's say you tallied 4, 3, 4, and then your frequency would be the number 4. If you tallied 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then your frequency would be the number 7. So this is how you work with the frequency and the tallying table. And when it comes to the mode, you must know that the mode is the value that appears the most. And there's going to be instances whereby a value appears more than once. Like maybe you've got, let's say this is your data set, you've got 2 and 2, there's 3, and then you've got 4, then there's 5, there's 6, there's 7. In this case, your mode, because 2 appears the most, 3 appears the most, your mode is going to be 2 and 3. That is how you write the mode. And then sometimes you'll have a data set like this, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whereby there is no mode. If this is your data set, you are not going to say that the mode is 0, but you will just say no mode. Because if you say the mode is 0, then you are actually saying that 0 is appearing the most. So be very, very careful. If there is no mode, you write no mode. If a number appears more than, if we have 2 or 3 values that are appearing more than once, then you will write those values as your mode. So it's also possible to have 3 modes. There is nothing wrong with it. And such data, we actually refer to it as a trimodal data. When it comes to the median, a median, it is your middle value. This is the middle value of an arranged data. Very, very important. When it comes to the median, you must always make sure that your data is arranged. Remember, data can be arranged in ascending or in descending order. Once the data has been arranged, then you can talk about the median. But until then, you cannot do anything with the median if your data is not arranged. When we take this now to the percentile language, we know that with the median, we also refer to it as the 50th percentile. Or when it comes to the quartiles, we refer to the median as quartile number 2. So in the percentile language, the 50th percentile, which is the median, it is also referred to as the average. So when you work with the percentiles, those graphs, the moment they talk about the average, you must immediately think of the median. And then we've got the minimum and the maximum values. Your minimum, that is your lowest or your smallest value. Whereas your maximum, that is your highest or your biggest value. So you must know the difference between your minimum and your maximum value. When you talk about the lower quartile, which is the 25th percentile in the language of the percentiles, here we are referring to 25% of the arranged data that lies below this value, or 75% of the arranged data lies above this. So when it comes to that, we can represent that on a number line like this. A number line, we know this is 100, this is 0. So a quarter, it is 25%. Here it is 50%. And then here it is 75%. So it means your Q1, your lower quartile is also known as Q1. And then upper quartile, it is also known as Q3. So your quartile 1 is here. What does that mean? It means 25% of the arranged data lies below, and then it lies here. This is the below part. 25% of your data, it lies there. Whereas when you talk about the 75th percentile, the 75th percentile is here. So this part here, from here to here, 100 minus 75, this represents a 25%. That is why they say 25% of the arranged data lies above this. This is the 25%. Or 75%. 75 is from here going back there. The entire part, it's equivalent to what? To 75, because it is 25, 50, and then there is 75. 75 of the arranged data lies below this value. And then when we talk about the range means the difference. Does the difference mean? Difference means what? It means you must minus. So range is the difference between the highest value and the lowest value. So if we want to come up with a formula for the range, we can actually say, okay, range equals to maximum value minus the minimum value. Remember, what is your maximum value from the previous slide? That is your highest value, and then your minimum value, it is your lowest value. So this is the formula. You are expected to know this formula by heart, because you are expected to apply this to answer some of the questions in the exams. And when you talk about a quartile divides the data into 4 equal parts. Here are the 4 equal parts: part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. It is the quartiles that have divided this set of data. When we talk about quartile 2 is also known as the median. So the other name for quartile 2 is the median. And what does that mean? This is where 50% of the data set lies. It is exactly in the middle. 50% of the data set lies there. And then IQR, in full, it is interquartile range. You are expected to know that, because the examiner can ask you, what does the acronym IQR stand for? You must proudly say it's interquartile range. So what is the interquartile range? That is the difference. Difference means minus between the upper quartile, Q3, and the lower quartile, Q1. So let us write the formula here for interquartile range. You are also expected to know this formula by heart. Interquartile range, it is what? It is Q3 minus Q1. So the common mistake that is always committed by the learners here, instead of calculating the interquartile range, learners always calculate the range. So make sure that you don't repeat this mistake. You read your questions carefully. If the question says calculate the interquartile range, you do that. If the question says calculate the range, you do that, because those two are not the same. And then a percentile, that is a position that determines the percentage below or above. Whereas you can, and then again, you can also expect to be asked to describe a trend. When it comes to a trend, when the question says describe a trend, here the examiner is looking for the keywords increase or decrease. In simpler words, when you talk about a trend, we are talking about a pattern that you are observing. Are you observing? Is there a pattern there? Is there an increase? Was there a decrease? And then after mentioning your increase or a decrease, you must also mention the period. That from this year to that year, there was an increase. And then from this particular year to that particular year, there was a decrease. That is how you answer a trend question, with either increase or a decrease, and then you mention the time frames. And then you must also know how to represent and interpret your data from the graphs. The different graphs that we work with are your pie charts, your bar graph, histograms, scatter plot, box, and whisker. And then remember, with the pie chart in mathematical literacy, you are not expected to draw a pie chart. That means that there will never be a question in the exam where they ask you to draw a pie chart, or they ask you to draw a box and whisker plot. But all these others, your bar graph, your histogram, your scatter plot, your line graphs, those ones you will definitely be expected to draw in the exam. And then let's look at the possible exam questions on this section. I think this was a very nice summary. I hope you guys took some notes, because it will come in very handy as you are revising for your end of the year exam paper. Let's look at question 1. This is adapted from the Northwest Prelim Paper 1 that was written this year. A survey was made on the number of pilgrims that completed the Camino de Santiago in the years 2019 to 2022. The survey is displayed in the table alongside. So what I see in this table is that we've got the months there from January to December, and then we've got the years from 2019 to 2022, and then here we've got totals for the years and the months, meaning that for February, you take this amount, you add this amount, you add this amount, you add this amount, it must give you this total amount. Why am I doing this? Because I see there's a missing value of being. So I want you, wherever you are seated, to already start asking yourself questions that how will I find the value of B? Because since there's a letter B, it means the examiner will definitely ask me to find the value of B. And then at the bottom here, we've got the totals. There is the total for 2019. There is the total for 2020. 2021, there is nothing. Then there's the total for 2022, and there is the total for all the years. This means that we can actually find the total for 2021. We can either find it by adding all these values, or we can find it by taking the total and subtracting all the other totals. Then the missing value will be the remaining value would be the total for this missing total of 2021. What am I doing? I'm analyzing the information that is given to me before I can even read the questions. That is what you need to do in the exam. You don't run to answer the questions. You first read what is given to you. You must be familiar with what you are going to work with, because trust me, all the answers are on this table. Let's look at the questions now. 1.1, write the total number of all the pilgrims from 2019 to 2022 in words. So the total, it means we're now going to look at this column for all the years from 2019 to 2022, meaning we're looking at this total here. So let me write it down. So how do you say this in words? For you to be able to write it, you must first be able to say it in words. Can you guys please say it in your classrooms there? How would you say this number in words? Let's see if you said it correctly. So this is 1 million, and the 0 represents and 18,494. So when it comes to big numbers, the 0 always represents the word and. Let me write it down now. This is 1 million and 18,494. This question is normally for 2 marks in the exam. So this is a basic that you learned in grade 10 and you are expected to master it in grade 12. 1.2, explain the term survey. Here, what did they say? They said a survey was made, or rather it was conducted. So a survey, I think in simpler ways, the simplest way to explain what a survey is to say that a survey, it is the method of collecting information by asking questions. If I come to your classroom and I ask you, what is your favorite subject? I'm conducting a what? A survey. I want to collect information, but for me to get that information, I must ask questions. So I hope that makes it easier. Let me write it down again. I said that a survey, a method of collecting information by asking questions. That is a simplest explanation that I can come up with. I hope you guys have the glossary of terms that you can go and compare with that one. But by now, all grade 12 learners are supposed to be sharp with their terminologies, because this you are going to find in the exam. 1.3, write down the number of pilgrims that completed the Camino de Santiago in September 2019. So our key word there, it is 2019. There is 2019. Which month? September. Let's look at September. There is September. So what is the total number of pilgrims? It was 45,000. Let me write it down. 45,649. That is the answer. So you must be familiar with reading information from the tables, because this is how the questions will be asked. You'll always be given information. You must be able to extract information from the table. 1.4, calculate the value of A. What is A? The pilgrims who walked the Camino in August 2020. There is our A. There is our A. It is 2020. It is August. So we want the value of A. How do we obtain the value of A? We already have the total here. So for us to have the A, it means we must take the total and we subtract all these other values. But before we can subtract all these other values, what we must do, we must first add them. Let's add all these values. Let's add them all together. Once we have the total, then we can subtract them from this great total. Let's do it together. So the first one, it is 1,999. Guys, please take out your calculators. Let's do this one together. Take out your calculators. It is 1,999 plus 3,076 plus 1,710 plus, we've got 0 and 0, 0 plus 0 plus 12 plus 9,752 plus 10,441 plus 6,418 plus 586. I hope I didn't leave out any value then. Plus 99. So let's punch this in our calculators. I've got my calculator here. Also punch it in there. 1,999 plus 3,076 plus 1,710 plus 0 plus 0 plus 12 plus 9,752 plus 10,441 plus 6,418 plus 586 plus 99. The answer that I'm getting there, I am getting 34,093. Are we done? No, far from it. We still want the value of A, so we are going to say A equals to, we will take this total here, the 53,905, and then we subtract this. We subtract 34,093. Let's do it together again. 53,905 minus the answer. I am getting 19,812. So the value of A is 19,812. 1.5. The range of the monthly total number of pilgrims that took part in the Camino de Santiago from 2019 to 2022 was 206,716. They're already telling you that this is the range. Already in your mind, you must think that, okay, it means whatever I'm doing here, I must use the concept of range. Sharp. Use the concept of range, like I said, to determine the lowest total value of the pilgrims from 2019 to 2022, which is the value of being. So because they're talking about the total, it means the column that we are going to focus on, it is the column of totals. So first of all, let's use the range concept. We know that the range, the formula for range, remember I said you must know this by heart. It is for this reason. So the range, it is your highest value minus your lowest value. So what is the range? They already gave us the range. They said the range, it is 206,716. So where I see the range, I'm going to write that value, that it is 206,716 equals to. We already know that B is the lowest. So if we ignore B, don't look at the total here. What is the highest value here? I see 125. Oh, I see 212. I think 212 is our highest value. So our highest value is 212 and 43 minus, what is our lowest value? They said our lowest value is B. So I'm going to say minus B. So here we want the value of B. But the problem is that our B here is what is negative. So for us to change this sign of B and make it positive, we have to bring B to that other side. So if the B was negative, you bring it this side, it becomes a positive B. I only want B, so I'm going to just say B equals to, and write the 212,043. Now we must take this 206 and bring it this side so that we have the numbers on one side. Because the 206 is positive, when you bring it that side, it becomes negative. Negative what? 206,716. And then from here on, you need your calculator. Don't even take chances here. So it's 212,043 minus 206,716. And the answer that I'm getting there, I am getting 5,327. So this is the value of B, and indeed it is the lowest value if you compare it with the other values. So this is how you use the concept of range to find the missing value. The most important thing is to know the formula, to write the formula, and then you substitute into that formula. 1.6. Calculate the mean number of pilgrims that completed the Camino de Santiago in the year 2021. So our focus now is where? Is in the year 2021. So how do we calculate the mean? What is the formula for mean? The mean, we said that it is the sum of all the values. So we need to add all these values. I can just get this total here by taking this and subtracting these 3. But that is a shortcut. Here I'm trying to instill a skill of calculating the mean. Let us do it together. So to calculate the mean, we'll take the 16 plus the 14 plus the 194. Remember, with the mean, we don't have to arrange. It's okay. It's not going to affect our answer. 95 plus 14,824 plus 35,963 plus 43,575. I hope you guys are also doing this. Plus 37,463 plus 31,117 plus 9,094 plus 1,119. Sorry, let me count my values. They must be 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So let's get the total, guys. Let's add it all of them together. Let's punch there in your calculators, please. We are adding all these values. Please do this with me. I hope you're getting the same answer, 178,860.69. That is what I'm getting. Remember, we always calculating the mean, and we said the mean is the sum of all the values. Sum means addition. So we've already added, what are they? It is 178,869 divide by the total number of values. I already counted them. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we'll divide this by 12 values. And then we punch in our calculators. The answer that I'm getting there, it is 14,905 and 75 cents. That is the mean for 2021. 1.7, determine the probability that more than 50,000 pilgrims completed the Camino de Santiago per month in the year 2022. So our focus now is 2022. Write your answer as a percentage rounded to the nearest whole number. So you must determine the probability that more than 50,000. So here we look at a value that is more than 50,000. Let us see. More than 50,000 there, more than 50,000, more than 50,000, more than 50,000, more than 50,000. So how many values? It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. More than 50,000, it is 5. Over how many values in total? Over 12 values. What was the instruction? Write your answer as a percentage. The moment you see a percentage, you know that you have to multiply by 100. So let us also take out a calculator again. We say 5 divided by 12. I am getting 0.4166666 is up to 7. Remember to multiply by 100 times by 100. The answer is 41,66666 is up to 7. But there was an instruction, round it off to the nearest whole number. Whole number means they don't want any decimals. It must be whole. So when we do this is the 6, it's greater. When you move that side, you plus the 1 there. So it means the answer is actually 42%. That is the answer. It is 42%. Number 2, Mr. Alejandro teaches Spanish to 3 groups of students at the end of the year. He displays the results in box and whisker diagrams to compare the results. He analyzes the results and then finds alternative methods to increase the results. Study the display of his results for 2023 alongside. So looking at this value, you see the percentages is from 0 up to 100. So looking at this first box and whisker then, that's 60.5. It means this is your minimum mark. So the lowest person here performed at 60.5. And then there, the 72.5, that is your quartile 1. So quartile 1 is 72.5. And then there at 78, this is your quartile 2, which is also known as the median. And then at 84 there, you've got your quartile 3. And then lastly, this is your maximum value. It means the highest learner in this class got what? They got 91.5. And this is for class A. You can do the same for class B and then class C. So you must be very familiar with these diagrams. You must even know their names. That these diagrams, we call them the box and whisker plots. Let's look at the questions now. 2.1, state what percentage the box represents in the box and whisker. Look, let's do this. If I was to draw a box and whisker, this is how a box and whisker look like. So this first part from here to here, it is the first 25%. Remember, we've got this that represents the median. So this part also represents 25%, and this part represents 25%, and then from here to there it represents 25%. And then in total, that is where we get the 100%. So where is the box? This is the box. So this is the box. What percentage is represented by the box? It is 25 plus 25. Therefore, the answer is what is? Yes, say the answer. The answer is 50%. So the percentage that is represented by the box here, it is 50%, because this one is 25%, this one is another 25%. 2.2, write down the outlier as well as the class that it occurred, in which it occurred. When you talk about an outlier here, we talk about a value that stands out. From the rest of the values. It can be a value that is way smaller. It can be a value that is way bigger. Right now in your class, your age groups, most of you are between 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then you've got your teacher. If we were to ask your teacher her age, let's say your teacher is 63 years old. So do you see how your teacher's age stands out above all your ages in the classroom? So your teacher's age is a perfect example of an outlier. I hope you get it. An outlier, it is a value that stands out amongst all the other values. It can be a value that is way bigger, can be a value that is way smaller as compared to the rest of the values. So let's see. From these values, you see this box and whisker, they're performing from the 60s up to then. And then you look at this class, the lowest is at 22 there, very far. This one, the box and whisker is not that straight. So this is quite obvious. The outlier here, it is actually 22. That is the outlier. It is the lower, way smaller than the rest of the other values. So if you write down the outlier, you will say outlier is equals to 22. And from which class? It is coming from class B. This is how you will answer this question. And then 2.3, which values are used to draw the box and whisker diagram? When we draw the box and whisker plot, guys, let me try and redraw it straight here. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Sorry. So when you draw the box and whisker plot, what we need to know here, you need to know which values are going to be represented on the box and whisker. So I'm going to request that you guys, you analyze this, you answer this, and give me what are those values that you need for you to complete your box and whisker. Just 1 minute, and then I'll be back. We'll discuss it together. Welcome back. Let's answer this question now. So I hope you guys have the answer. Now it's time for you to compare your answers. So I said that I was going to redraw the box and whisker. When I draw the box and whisker, I'll always start with the box. Remember, you will never be asked to draw a box and whisker in the exam. So I start with the box, and then I do the whiskers. These are the whiskers. And then the middle part, the box will have the middle part. Remember, this represents what? The median. So for you to complete the box and whisker, let's label it. This value represents what? The minimum value. This represents what? Quartile 1. This represents quartile 2. This represents quartile 3. And this represents the maximum value. And these are the values that you will need for you to draw a box and whisker diagram. So in actual fact, they wanted you to give the 5-number summary, because this, we also call it a 5-number summary. So let's write them in full. To answer the question, you will need the minimum value. You will need quartile 1. You will need quartile 2. You will need quartile 3. You will need lastly the maximum value. These are the values that you will need for you to be able to draw a box and whisker. Without these values, you cannot draw a box and whisker. So this, what we call this? This is called a 5-number summary. Yes. 2.4. Alejandro states that Class B's interquartile range is 7.5% more than the interquartile range of Class A and C combined. Verify, showing all calculations, whether his statement is correct. So let's start by calculating the interquartile range for Class B. So I will say interquartile range for Class B. Remember the formula for interquartile range, it is Q3 minus Q1. So for the sake of space, I will write like this. This is Class B. So where is Q3? This is Q3. It is 82 minus, where is Q1? This is Q1 minus 50.125. And then the answer, let's punch this in our calculators to say 82 minus 50.125. The answer I'm getting there, it is 31.875. That is the interquartile range for Class B. Now let us go and check the combined interquartile ranges for Class A and Class C. So then we'll say interquartile range for Class A, it is Q3 minus Q1. Where is Class A? This is Class A. What is Q3? Q3 is 84. Minus Q1 is what? It is 72.5. Minus 72.5. And then the answer that I'm getting there, it is 84 minus 72.5. It is 11.5. Now let's do the interquartile range for Class C. Where is Class C? There is Class C. So interquartile range for Class C, we'll still say Q3 minus Q1. By now, you should be knowing this formula by heart. Ne? So what is quartile 3? Quartile 3 is 79. We have 79 minus 64. And then the answer is, we say 79 minus 64. The answer is 15. So we want the combined interquartile range. So interquartile range for A plus C, it is 11.5 plus 15, which is equals to how much? Let's take out our calculators there. I'm getting 26.5. What was the question? The interquartile range of Class B is more than the interquartile range of class A and class C. So let us see how true this is. We'll take 31,875 and then we subtract the combined interquartile range minus 26,5 and then we divide by the total interquartile range of class B, 875. Because of space, I'm going to punch this in as it is on the calculator to say 31.875 minus 26.5. I got the answer and then I divide that by 31.875. And the answer that I'm getting is not 0.1686, and then I times it by 100 because I want what I want to see, the percentage. So that multiplied by 100, I am getting 16.86%. They said what? They said that it was 7.5% more. So is this statement correct? No, the statement is incorrect. It is an incorrect statement. So this conclusion is very, very important. 2.5, use the measures of central tendency. What are the measures of central tendency? Your mean, your median, your mode, or spread. The measures of spread is what? It is your range and your quartiles. To determine which class performed the best, state the measure of central tendency or spread and give a reason for your answer. So the measure of central tendency that I'm going to use the median, because the median, it gives me more like an average. It tells me that 50% of the class, half of the learners in that classroom, they are performing at what percentage. So which class performed better? According to the median, class A is the one that performed better. So I will say class A performed better because 50% of the learners obtained 78%, whereas 50% of the learners in class B only obtained 71%, and 50% of the learners in class C obtained 75%. So for that reason, class A is the one that is performing better. I hope you understand. I hope you get it. You can use any measure of central tendency or any measure of spread. You can use the minimum value to say, look at class A. The lowest learner there is performing at 60.5, which is very good. Because when you look at class B, the lowest learner is at 22. You look at class C, the lowest learner is at 54. But your best bet is always where? It's always with the median. Monue lives near Fantasia Fun Park and Restaurant, which is also FFPR, that is open for all ages, entertainment and refreshment. The bar graphs alongside show the number of visitors per hour entering the Fantasia Fun Park on 4 days of the week. Note, on Mondays the park is not open, and the park is open from 9 to 1900. So let us analyze our graph here. We've got the number of visitors, and then here we've got the hourly time. If you look at Thursday is catered here from 9 o'clock in the morning until here, after 3 o'clock until here. This is for Thursday. So let's analyze it. If this is 9 o'clock, this tells me that this is 10, and then this is 11. Since this is 12, then this is 1300, and then this is 1400. I hope you guys can follow. You are seeing that. And then it will be the same for Friday. for Saturday, and for Sunday. Let us go to our questions. 3.1, identify the type of bar graph that is used to display this data. So we are aware that this is a bar graph because of the spaces here in between. Because of the spaces here in between, that makes it a bar graph. But what type of a bar graph is this? This is called a compound. You did this from grade 11. This is a compound bar graph. It's not a stacked. A stacked bar graph is that one that would look like this. This is an example of a stacked bar graph. So this one it's a compound. 3.2, describe a trend. Here is the question, that tip that I gave you. I said when a question is asking about a trend, when you answer your question, that question, you will answer it with an increase or decrease. And you must also give the periods. When is there an increase? When is there a decrease? Describe a trend that relates to the number of visitors per hour entering the park. So we can choose any day here. The trend is the same. Any day here. We can even take Saturday or Sunday or Friday or Thursday. Look what is happening. From 9 o'clock, remember this is 9, this is 11, this is 10, this is 9, this is 10, this is 11, this is 12, and then this is 1. From 9 o'clock to 1, to 1300. What is the trend? There is an increase in the number of visitors that are visiting the park. Is an increase in the number of visitors entering the park. But after 1 o'clock, look here, from here it's 1400. From 1400, 1500, 1600, what is going on? There is a decrease. So we'll then say from 1400 to 1600, there is a decrease in the number of visitors that are entering the park. So you see the keywords are increase and what and decrease. And then the times from 9 to 1300, and then from 1400 to 1600. That is how you answer it. This is in Africa for 2022 and 2023. Each country has a different inflation rate and it changes from year to year. Use the table to answer the questions that follow. So let us look at our table. It is the inflation rate for 10 countries. So this column here is about from Morocco to Egypt. And then this is the 2023 inflation percentages. So when you see 8.9, you must know this is 8.9%. When you see 4.1, it is 4.1%. And you see the value of P, you must already know that they are going to ask me to find the value of previous year, meaning we're looking from this to that. We're looking for a what? For a decrease. From this to this, no decrease. From this to this, yes. So Kenya. From this to this, no decrease. From this to this, there was a decrease. From this to this, increase, increase, decrease, increase. This one we don't know, so we're not going to talk about it because we don't know the value. And then this one, there was an increase. So how many countries? It's 1, 2, 3. But the question says name those countries. So what are those? It is Kenya, it is Botswana, and then it is Senegal. So those are the three countries whose inflation rate decreased from 2022 to 2023. 4.2. Which of the following types of graphs will be best to represent the data on the table? So because our data is in percentages and it also has decimals, the best graph that will represent this information, it is your pie chart. Because remember, with the pie chart, we always say that a pie chart, it is out of 100. This is out of 100. So because we are working with percentages, a pie chart would be the best one, would be a perfect graph to represent this information. 4.3. Name the country with the second lowest inflation rate in 2022. So we are focusing in 2022. We don't just want the lowest, but we want the second lowest. But for us to get the second lowest, we must first identify which one is the lowest and then followed by which one. Then the one that follows, that is a second lowest inflation. So let us look here. What is our lowest inflation rate? This is our lowest inflation rate. And then it is followed by what? If I'm correct, it is followed by 8.2%. So which country is that? It is Algeria. Normally this question would be for 2 marks in the exam. 4.4. Calculate the median percentage inflation rate for 2022. So there is 2022. They want what? The median. When you talk about the median, we talk about the value in the middle. But the value in the middle of what? Of an arranged data. So your data must first be arranged. Let us arrange our data in ascending order. What is the smallest value? This is the smallest value. The second one, the third one, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10. So let me write them nicely. So it is 2.1, the smallest, and then there's 8.2, then there's 8.3, then there is 9.1, then there is 10.1, then there is 10.2, then there is 21.3, then there is 12.4, then there is 12.8, then there is 12.9. It was 10 countries. Just to double check, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Since it's 10, it means we are going to have 2 values in the middle. So value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the 2 values in the middle. Since we have 2 values in the middle, we'll then say the median is equals to 10.1 plus 10.2, and then we'll divide them by what? By 2. Then you'll say 10.1 plus 10.2, 10.2, the answer is 20.3, divided by 2, the answer is 10.15. That is our median for the inflation rate for 2022. I hope this is a nice, perfect reminder on how you calculate the median. 4.5. Determine the probability of randomly selecting an African country from the table with an inflation rate of less than 10% in 2022. So we are still here in 2022. We are looking for what? The inflation rate that is less than 10%. Less than 10%. So it means we cannot include 10% there. So the first one, this is the first one, second, third, fourth, 4. So it's how many determine the probability of a name selecting an African country. So how many countries? It is 4 countries. Out of how many countries in total? Out of 10 countries in total. And then you must write your answer as a decimal. You punch this on your calculator. The answer should be 0,4. So that is the probability. 4.6, the mean percentage. You see the word mean, you already think about the mean. The mean percentage inflation rate for 2023 is 11.14%. So they already have the mean. They've already calculated their mean. The mean is 11.14%. Calculate the missing value P by showing all calculations. So here is the value of P. We have the mean. So it means the fact that they gave us the mean, we will use the concept of mean to help us find the value of P. If they were talking about the median, we would use the concept of the median. If they're talking about the range, we would use the concept of the range. So here they spoke about the mean. Now let's use the concept of mean. We know that the mean means what? We are in 2023, the sum of all these values. So let us add them. It is 8,9 plus 9,0 plus 9,3 plus 9,3 plus 4,1 plus 10,4 plus 10,6 plus 10,2 plus we will include the P plus the P plus 25,5. And then we divide this by the total number of values. How many values are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Divide that by 10. But now they gave us the value of the mean, meaning that where I see the mean. Okay, let me rewrite this first to say mean equals to. Let us add all these values as I've plus them there. Let us all take out our calculators to say 8.9 plus 9.0 plus 9.3 plus 9.3 plus 4.1. Remember to add the 9.3 twice, plus 10.4 plus 10.6 plus 10.2. We don't have P on our calculator, so you can't say plus P. You don't have a P there. Plus 25.5. And the answer that I'm getting there, it is 97.3 plus, remember there's a P there, there's still a P, plus P divided by the number of items it is 10. But they gave us the mean. They said the mean is 11.4. So where I see the mean, I'm going to write 11.14 equals to 97.3 plus P over 10. So this will be over 1, and then we cross multiply. And then 1 multiplied by that, it is 97.3 plus P equals to 10 multiplied by that. Let's say 11.14 multiplied by 10. I don't have space. Let me take it here in this little box there. Then I will have 97.3 plus P equals to, let's do the maths then, it is 111,4. But now we want P only, so it will be P equals to 111,4. We take this, you bring it to that other side. It is positive. When it comes to that side, it becomes negative 97.3. So P equals to, let us do the maths then, 111.4 minus 97.3. The answer that I'm getting, it is 14,1. So the value of P, it is 14,1%. So that is how you use the mean to find the value of the unknown. I know this is a tricky one. This is one of those challenging questions. But then please request your teachers to drill you on this type of questions, to assist you on this type of questions. Then the more you practice this, the more you are going to master it, the more you are going to excel with this question in the exam. And this is also one of those very popular questions in the exam. 4.7, is the mean percentage inflation rate for 2023 a good indication of the inflation rate for the 10 African countries? So the mean that we got here, that 11.4, remember it was what? It was 11.4% for 2023. Is it a good indication of the inflation rate? Look at this inflation. This one is 8.99, 9.3. There's a 4.1. Then there's a 25.5. So definitely in this case, we cannot rely on the mean. We cannot rely on the mean. Why? Because there is an outlier of 25.5. And we know that with the mean is influenced by outliers. That is one of the disadvantages of working with the mean, is that a mean is influenced by the outliers, influencing in a way that it is misleading. It becomes misleading because of the outlier. So in this case, what was the question? Is it a good indication? No. Why? Because the mean is influenced by outliers, and there is an outlier there. That is the reason why we cannot rely on the mean to answer this question. The table alongside shows the total population of each African country Mr. Gareth traveled to for the past 2 years. Use the table to answer the questions that follow. So let's look at the table on the next slide. So don't confuse this table with the previous one. This one, it shows the total population of the 10 countries, meaning that the number of people that live in those countries, and the value that you see there is it is in millions. Remember, a million means what? Million means multiplied by 1 with how many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Therefore, if you see, let's take the first one here, 38,134. 38,134. If you write it correctly, this should be multiplied by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because they said it is in what? It is in millions. So let us do it there to say 38.134 multiplied by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is actually 38,134,000. So if you were to write this correctly, properly, it is 38,134,000. But we're not answering any questions. Let us look at our questions now. 5.1, determine by how much the population in Senegal increased in 2023. So where is Senegal? There is Senegal. So they want the increase from 2022 to 2023, meaning we'll take the value for 2023 and subtract the value from 2022. So 2023, it was how much? It was 17,979 minus 17,826. Let's punch this in our calculators. 17.979 minus 17.826, and the answer there, it is 0.153 million. Remember, this is in what? This is in millions. So this is by how much the population increased from 2022 up to 2023. 5.2, The range of the total population in 2022, there is 2022, was 104,535. The moment they give you the range and the value, it tells you that you have to work with the range formula. It tells you that. Determine the missing value B. What was B? B was the lowest total population for the 2 years. So let us write the formula for range. We know that range, the moment, because they mentioned range, therefore you must work with the range. Range is the highest value minus the lowest value. And then let's substitute. They give us the value of the range. They say the range is 104. 104,535 minus, what is the highest value now? Let's look at these values. We already know that B is the lowest value. So from these values, I've got Egypt with 106. I think Egypt is the highest. With range equals to the highest. It is Egypt with 106,981 minus the lowest value is what it is. It is B. So I'm gonna write what I'm gonna write, B. So now we want the value of B, but our B here is what is negative. So for us to make B positive, we must move B to that other side of the equation. Because it's negative, move it this side, it becomes what? It becomes a positive B. And then we still have the 106,981. Now we must move the numbers this side because we want the numbers one side. The 104, it is positive. When it comes to the other side of the equation, it becomes what? It becomes negative 104,535. And this is where now you take out your calculator and then you start punching. You say 106,981 minus 104,535. And then the answer that I'm getting there, it is 2,446. And it is 2,446 what? Million. That is the value of what? That is the value of B from the table that has been provided. 5.3. Calculate the percentage increase in the total population of Egypt from 2022 to 2023. So let's look at Egypt. Where is Egypt? There is Egypt. They want us to calculate what? The percentage increase. And the nice thing about this one is that they gave us the formula. So we will just substitute into the formula. So we'll then say percentage increase equals to, what was the population in 2023? It was 107,734. What was the population in 2022? 106,981 over the population in 2022. It is 106,981. For the purpose of space, I'm going to simplify this first, then I'll multiply by 100. So let's say 107,734 minus 106,981. I hope I punched in all the answers correctly. And then I'm getting 0,753 over 106,981. And then this must be multiplied by 100. Divide by 106,981 equals to, then times by 100. It is 0.70386%. Okay, we can round it, which is 0.7%. So that was the percentage increase. It didn't increase that much, but 0.7. Remember, we are talking millions here. 0.7 is actually a lot of people. It's a lot of people. 5.4. Write down the name of the country with the second highest total population in 2023. They don't want the highest, but they want what? The second highest. So it means you must first identify the highest, then the one that comes after this one. That is the one that we are looking for. When? For 2023. So let us identify which one is the highest here. This is the highest. Egypt, it means Egypt is the biggest country. And then after Egypt, what must come now? It is now Kenya. I think it is Kenya. So the country with the second highest, it is what it is? It is Kenya or Kenya. 5.5. Determine the probability of randomly selecting a country from the list with a total population of less than 15 million people. So, okay, less than 15 million people in 2023. So we are going to focus in 2023. And then these values, this 38.13, 38 million, it represents 38 million. This is 57 million. This is 46 million. This is 2 million, 7 million, 49 million, 17 million, 12 million, 5 million, 107 million. So here, what are we looking for? A total population of less than 15. So you look for any value that is smaller than 15. It is this one, this one, this one, this one. So determine the probability of randomly selecting a country. How many countries? It is 4 countries. Out of how many countries in total? Out of 10 countries. So you give your answer as a percentage, meaning that you have to times by 100. So 4 over 10, it's 0.4. Times that by 100, the answer that we should all be getting is 40%. Bren and Sam are both practicing for a race in their own. In the diagram alongside, there are distances in kilometers that they both ran while practicing. So here is the diagram. We've got Bren, we've got Sam. And one thing we know about this diagram is that it represents what? The minimum value. It represents Q1, it represents Q2, it represents Q3, it represents the maximum value. 6.1, examiner's favorite question. Identify the type of diagram that is drawn. This diagram, we call it what? We call it a box and whisker plot. Don't embarrass us and say box and whiskey. Ooh, box and whiskey. No, it's a box and whisker plot. 6.2, write down the following. The maximum distance that Bren ran. Where is Bren? There is Bren. And this is his maximum distance. So what is his maximum distance? It is 14 kilometers. The minimum distance that Sam ran. Where is Sam? This is Sam. The minimum is this one. So between 1 and 2, it is 1,5 kilometers. 6.3, determine the median distances for both of them. Remember, the median is indicated by this line, this line, this line, and it is between 9 and 10. Therefore, it is 9,5 kilometers. And girls and boys, this brings us to the end of our lesson. I hope you have enjoyed this lesson, but most importantly, I hope that you have learned and you do have the worksheets, all these questions that we treated today. So please do go and continue with some of the questions that I could not cover because of time. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you again, guys, next week, same time, same place.